Great. Thank you, Stephen, and thank you, Acumen, for allowing us to present to you folks, and welcome this afternoon. And if you don't have much experience with document management, this is a perfect webinar for you. It's 30 minutes. Give you a little insight on what DocLink can do for your business. Or if you are well-versed with document management, hopefully this will provide you with some content that you can bring back to your coworkers and the folks in your organization. My name is Patrick Wynn, as Stephen mentioned. I'm a sales director at Altec for the Southeast region of the US. So, did you know? Let's touch on did you know, some of the facts that are out there and see if you folks actually know. So, here you see this is a report from the paperlessproject.com. And let's dig into each of these sections a little bit more in detail. Did you know that an average worker that works in an office wastes about 10,000 sheets of paper per year, equivalent to 334 pounds of paper comes out to be on average what each person recycles. That's a lot of paper when you think about things, right? We don't think about things when we print things out or store things in filing cabinets, but on average, this is what this research and study has found. Going beyond that, think about the whole world, or just North America, US and Canada, right? So in 1997, the total weight of the entire world paper and paperboard production was equivalent to 200,000 Volkswagen Beetles. Think about that, the weight. That's a lot of weight, right? And you think about within the last 20 years alone, it has, you know, within the last 20 years, we're more and more computerized. Everything is more electronic and whatnot. But paper production has continued to grow. We've grown 126% within the last 20 years in the world. Think about that. We're more computerized now than ever. Why are we using so much paper? And the folks that are the highest use are folks here in North America, US and Canada. We're the world's largest producers of paper and paper products, and we use it, right? So think about how much 120,000 pounds of paper would save. The different things, right? Going green, right? It's Earth Day, so the theme is going green. But also the theme is you folks are all working remote, most of you folks. So how does DocLink help? Well, think about the 120,000 pounds of paper that if we recycle or we save and not use, you know, 1,000 trees potentially, 22,800 gallons of oil, because there is cost and other things that go into making paper, kilowatts of energy, gallons of water that's being wasted, right? All these natural resources that are out there in the world that we're using up, right? Another thing, another study, well, think about, you know, what it's costing you within your organization, right? To manage documents, to manage filing cabinets, you know, the cost of filing, the cost of the documents that are being misfiled, documents that are lost or destroyed, the percentage of time that you're wasting your employees on a typical day, a typical search, managing paper documents, managing filing cabinets, storing, retrieving, managing manual workflow process, the time it takes and the energy and the time wasted that it costs your organization, right? All things to think about. And if you want, go and visit this site. There's definitely more information from the paperlessproject.com site here that you see. So today we're going to discuss what's important in today's world. Most of us are working remote. I know everybody at Altec and the folks at Acumen are all working remote because we're non-essential businesses, but we're trying to conduct business as usual. And it's important and you know, vital for an organization to be able to access their critical information, their documents remotely, so they can conduct business as usual. And we're going to talk about why going paperless is important. What is DocLink? Give you folks an overview on that. Touch on accounts payable, because a lot of our clients start with that, but of course expand to other departments and how it impacts other departments. And then document management impact of going green. So did you know Companies typically misfile on average 20% of their documents and their records. This is a source from ARMA International. They've done research that roughly about 20%, records get lost or misplaced or destroyed. So what happens there? Did you know that 90% of businesses' information still exists on paper today, which is huge, right? And more than 70% of business, think about it, if you live in an area where there could be a natural disaster, if you live in, if your office and you live out of Florida, right? What happens when there is a hurricane, or even if you live in an area where there's tornadoes or floods or earthquakes, wherever you are, there are those natural disasters that can happen. And 70% of businesses out there would fail within 3 weeks if they suffered a catastrophic loss of their paper-based products, so, with fires and floods or any of the natural disasters. So think about your organization. Are you prepared to conduct business as usual if you went through a natural disaster and be able to access all your documentations as well as content electronically and have backup to it? We want to talk about going paperless, and that's the key here, getting everything electronic, but also going paperless with DocLink enables your workforce to work remote, right? And that's the key thing. And many of us are in non-essential businesses, like I mentioned, and we're still adjusting to the new normal, which is working remote full time, being away from the office, not being able to access filing cabinets, not being able to access our documents to do our day-to-day job. Maybe you have to drive in the office every now and then just to pull documents so you can do your day-to-day job, right? So it's apparent more now than ever that it's important for organizations that have these gaps to be able to support a remote workforce, right? And it's causing organizations to reevaluate solutions that they have in place, and that's where DocLink can definitely help your organization. Digital transformation and going paperless is more important now than ever before. This surge in technology is about helping companies manage their data, their documents, their content, and their business processes better, right? Their workflow, managing it all electronically. And we've seen firsthand how becoming a digital business can help companies stay agile when dealing with unprecedented circumstances like we have today with COVID-19, like the stay-at-home orders that are currently in place in a lot of states. In a world of document management, we tend to think about the document that precedes the process. And at the end of the day, it's about connecting the paper, the people, and the processes, and the data from anywhere, right? Being able to access not necessarily just from your office, but remotely from your home. As long as you have internet connection, you can access your documents and content. And I know a lot of states are reopening slowly, but think about what if there's a second wave of this pandemic coming, and then there's another lockdown, right? Are you going to be prepared to be able to conduct business as usual? So what can DocLink do, right? Let's touch on that. DocLink has the ability to connect the right people at the right time with the right documents to effectively do their critical work from anywhere, right? It streamlines operations and gives back control of the documents, data, and then, of course, the transactions, right? Streamlines that. And it also delivers documents outside your business. And if you need to send documents out to your vendors, to your customers, we allow those same people to access a self-service portal if need be, and it's called the web client. So if you want to be able to have a portal where your customers and your vendors can access their documents and their information, certainly we can open it up and you can allow that to have access to, so they can access their documents that are stored in the system, right? And based on security, we have full-blown security so that only certain people can access certain documents. At this point, it comes to our first polling question. If you folks can answer some of these, what are some of the challenges and pain points that you're facing today? Is it A, so enter it into the chat box, and Stephen will monitor this. Is it A, current processes requires a lot of touching, moving, and filing of documents? Is that an issue for you? Touching these paper-based documents in your organization, moving things around? Are approval processes manual and inefficient? in your organization? Are you having a hard time tracking these approvals? Is it sitting on someone's desk and he or she is forgetting to approve it, maybe for weeks at a time? You know, when things need to be approved in a timely manner, you know, do you need to have visibility to that? Who has the document or the invoice or whatever it may be, who still needs to approve it? A lot of times organizations have multiple steps of approval based on dollar amount, right? How are you managing all that? How are you tracking that? A lot of times it's all manual. Are you folks spending a lot of time doing data entry? Specifically data entry as it relates to accounts payable process. Are you spending a lot of time matching invoices to POs to receipt of goods? Are you spending a lot of time doing data entry of these invoices in your organization? You know, the accounting group, the AP group, spending a lot of time, and you're looking for better ways to effectively manage the AP process. Are invoices being lost and other documents being lost or misplaced in your organization? Stephen,
So,
how's the...
Yeah,
how's
so
it
the chat option's up. We're actually getting a good amount of A's and a few B's and C's. We haven't got any D's, but it looks like A is one thing that's a lot of people are answering.
Great, yeah, and A, I would say, especially in today, I mean, it's a normal thing with A and B are pretty common, but especially in today, right? Current processes require a lot of touching. Well, the touching is, you can't really touch a document that much. How do you pass the document over to your coworker when they're working out of their home office? So that's not unusual to hear. A is probably the popular one, right? Moving things around. So what is DocLink? Let's give you folks an overview on what DocLink is. And the core of DocLink is the repository. We have two flavors of DocLink. We have an on-premise, traditional on-prem flavor of DocLink where it gets installed on a server, documents are stored there, or you can have it single tenant private cloud environment where you host traditional on-prem DocLink in a private cloud. We also have a multi-tenant cloud-based solution of DocLink where it's stored in the cloud. Software, everything is stored in the cloud. So you can have on-premise on your environment or remote. The core system is the repository where everything's stored and managed, whether it's in-house or in the cloud. How you bring in documents, a lot of different ways you can bring in documents or even content for that matter. Sure, we're an enterprise document management system, but we allow you to store content as well. So think about any document as it relates to, or content. It could be a Word document, Excel, it could be PDF, it could be TIFF, it could be an image. You know, a lot of our clients are depending on the business you're in, they take pictures. They're an organization that are a service organization, and they service equipment, they service things for clients, and they take pictures of the item that's broken before and after, upload them, store them with the client. We can store WAV files, multimedia files. We have engineering clients that store engineering drawings. So really the sky's the limit in terms of what you want to store and manage in DocLink. More than just documents, it could be content as well. A lot of different things and avenues that you could bring in documents. You could scan paper-based documents in. We can utilize OCR, which stands for optical character recognition, be able to scan and bring in documents electronically into our system. You could also have a print capture capability, not printing it to paper, but electronically printing documents that are coming out of your ERP system, whether you're on, Sage 300 or if you folks are using Sage Intacct. I know a lot of Acumen customers are either Sage 300 or Sage Intacct. We have an electronic print capture where it goes into DocLink electronically from the ERP system. We have automated import where we can pick up documents from a network folder that you scan to a network location, or documents that are sent to you via email, such as vendor invoices, right? And then we have processes around them, workflow processes where you can route things around based on, certain conditions, based on dollar amount, based on vendor, based on customer, whatever it may be. We have automated routing rules that can manage all that. We also have a forms capability where you can create different types of business forms that your organization may have on paper, on Word or Excel today, and be able to manage it all electronically. Very common use case of the forms, expense report or purchase requisition. But then there's also plenty of HR forms and other accounting forms that you can utilize DocLink for. A lot of different ways you can retrieve for documents. And it's important that we have a web client where you could access documents right from any web browser. Think about any web browser that is out there, even Safari. If so, you have folks in your organization using Macs, you can utilize Safari. We also have a mobile app which supports iOS compatible devices as well as Android compatible devices to be able to access documents right from a mobile phone. We have a capability of delivering out documents in our system with packages. For instance, sending out the AR statement, monthly statements to your customers, as well as all the supporting invoices that you sent them, right, as a deliver package, all electronically. It could be to a vendor as well. So think about delivering a package all electronically, lumping them together, setting up a timed, specific time and date to send these things out when it's supposed to happen. And then our two-way integration with the Sage ERP, as I mentioned, 300 and Intact, Sage 300 and Sage Intact, where we could feed data over, specifically AP invoice data once it's approved and once it's matched into the ERP system. And we have a two-way integration where we feed data and retrieve data from the ERP system, right? Kind of give you folks an overview there. Going paperless, there's a lot of opportunities in different groups and departments in your organization. Today, we're going to talk about specifically the AP process because that tends to be the most paper-intensive process in an organization. A lot of our clients start with the AP because it's so paper-intensive, because that's where the most tangible and obvious ROI comes into place, especially in the finance accounting department. The efficiency of AP processes lies on one, the time to process an invoice, and two, the cost to process it. This is generally why we find that AP department is a logical first step, right, to be able to automate their process. And most of our customers start with AP. I would say probably close to 80% of our customers start with automating their AP and managing the AP process electronically. And then they grow from there into other groups and other departments and other documents and content in their organization. Did you know that 7.5% of all documents get lost? 40% of the time is spent searching for these, and average documents are copied 19 times. The amount of unnecessary waste that occurs with the normal operations of paper-based organizations is significant on a global basis, right? So definitely Earth Day is important in going green. There are three major benefits in using DocLink to automate your accounts payable process. It's the ability to provide a self-service document management access, having timely approvals from anywhere, and eliminating the filing and minimizing the tedious data entry tasks, and ultimately contribute to a huge win by streamlining your approval process and the integration with your Sage ERP system. To illustrate an accounts payable process, this is on average what all the different steps that an organization goes through as it relates to accounts payable, right? Typical cycle, typical points that an organization needs to go through, all these points. And utilizing DocLink, we can reduce 60% of these processes, these manual processes. So think about utilizing DocLink, we're able to eliminate so many different things. It really comes down to approval, coding of the invoice, and then promoting it to GL and importing it into the ERP system, right? Eliminating 60% of the manual tasks that you have. And of course, having the visibility becomes very important. So the benefits. So vendors can submit invoices in a variety of different ways. With DocLink, AP automation with DocLink, we can automatically extract relevant data from the invoice. Then designate administrators to receive notifications, people that need to approve it. DocLink essentially mimics your current workflow process that you have in your organization, but all electronically, which establishes predetermined electronic approval process. We can have ad hoc workflow processes as well. And you can have as many approvers as you want, and it's purely based on your business needs. And approval times are significantly decreased. So running through the whole process electronically all the way delivered into your ERP system. Regardless of how document comes into your customer's business, they can safely capture and index its data automatically. DocLink gets the information can pick it up from email, from scans, from fax, from barcodes, OCR, and can automate the indexing as it comes in. And based on these processes, you can eliminate any need for printing, copying, filing, and matching of these documents manually. And essentially saving time that you have manually reconciling or managing the matching process, and looking at every single document input, streamlining the paper-based process, and eventually getting rid of all the paper and the manual processes in your organization, reducing any human errors as it relates to that, and be able to take advantage of potentially early payment discount if you haven't been able to before, or avoid any late fees that your organization may have received from vendors. We also have workflow delegation capability. So imagine if you're away on vacation or on leave and you want to delegate your workflow to someone else during that time, you can configure and set that to when it starts and when it expires when you come back, right? If you're on leave or on vacation, you're going to be somewhere where you can't approve your documents easily, so that things don't fall behind. Sending information becomes important as well. We kind of talked about that, being able to automate and setting up specific rules to send out packages to your customers. Touched on this a little bit earlier. We could attach all supporting documents, such as like an AR statement with all supporting AR invoices to be sent out, and specify the delivery date and schedule and the preferred delivery method as well. Here's an example of a customer evidence where they're able to save a lot of time and effort in terms of being able to send out documents. One of our customers, Tyler Technologies, one of their critical need was to be able to automate their AP invoice process, which we were able to help them out by streamlining their AP process. But then also as a second step, it was important for them to save postage, annual postage, also as a phase 2 to be able to automate sending out of documents to their clients, their invoices and their statements. So a huge win for this client. Not only we were able to help them with the AP process, managing that electronically, but then also automating delivery of documents to their customers. So how can DocLink impact everyone in your organization? We talked a lot about AP, but a lot of different use cases in other areas in your organization, right? Think about your HR department, right? HR is working remote now. So how are they able to access filing cabinets and documents for their employees to do their things? All the different forms and applications and personnel action notices, things like that. On average, what we found is each employee for the average business has at least 30 plus documents, different types of documents that are stored in their employee file. So think about how DocLink can benefit your HR department. But also, if you're a field service organization, all the documents that need to be accessed when your field service technicians are remote, right? Managing contracts. What about contracts? Managing that process. We have an integration with DocuSign where we can manage your contracts and send them out through DocuSign for signature. What about expiration dates on contracts, right? Notifying you 30, 60, 90 days before the contract expires so you could take action on that. Be proactive about the contract. Sales order processing, tracking certification and compliance for employees or compliance for your organization, credit card reconciliation processing, or even expense report, right? And all the different forms that you have on paper, Word, or Excel today that you want to manage all electronically inside DocLink. So less paper usage. You know, the average office we talked about, average office employee consumes about 10,000 paper sheets per year. You know, what else can DocLink do? Definitely cut down in pollution, reduce any fuel consumptions for transport, whether it's air, rail, or road for distribution of reams of paper. You know, less use of associated consumables such as printers, copiers, fax machines, ink and toner cartridges, increase workforce and workplace efficiencies, now that you folks are all working remote, and of course, eliminating any storage, office space, or filing cabinets that you folks have. other document management payoff is reducing any filing, faxing, and searching and copying costs. Eliminate your filing cabinets, which we talked about, reduce business costs associated with these, and increase efficiencies of your staff by removing the time spent searching and sending documents, instantly retrieving desktops, eliminating any late fees, and take advantage of early payment discounts that you would have. Most of our clients realize an ROI in 9 months or less when they implement DocLink. Other areas where DocLink gives you a payoff, right? Think about the ROI. Decrease dependencies on paper, which is important today. Streamlining any document workflow. Electronic documents are shared electronically via email, via our web portal. Expedite any approval process so things don't fall behind. Gain controls of the transaction and visibility of the workflow process. Automate document delivery, we touched on, and of course security, and much more enforceable now that everything's electronically managed, right? Managing everything by security access. We're coming close to the end of our presentation. I do have one more poll question, and certainly Stephen can track this and see what folks' answers are. So why did you sign up for this webinar? Knowledge building for your organization and how DocLink can be utilized in your organization? Maybe your boss made you attend this. Do you have an initiative in your organization? Is there an initiative right now to go paperless, right, in your organization? We could use this. Ready to learn more? Contact me, right? Are you folks ready to learn more? Is it option A, B, C, or D?
Yeah, so we're actually
to learn more.
We're getting a lot of A's and a few D's. Luckily, we got no B's, so that's good.
That is actually good.
But yeah, we're seeing a lot of A's with knowledge building.
Great. Yeah, knowledge building is great. If you could use this today, definitely, I would say, if you folks have any questions, really the Q&A part's next, definitely. We have a few minutes left. Enter those questions into the chat box, and Stephen will facilitate those questions. I'll answer as many as I can and to the best of my ability, but certainly open things up for Q&A. And yes, if you folks are interested.
Yep, you can go ahead.
If you folks are interested, definitely reach out to the Acumen team. You can call them directly or send them an email, and certainly we can have further discussions in terms of your needs and requirements and see where DocLink can fit in your organization. But definitely, Stephen wanted to open up to see if any questions came in.
Perfect. Yeah, we actually had 2 questions come in, and since we only have a few minutes, we'll go ahead and answer those. So the first question that came in says, can prior invoices already paid get added to the software and linked back to the ERP system?
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. And then the other one, it says, can you route invoices for approval based on the dollar amount?
Yes, that is very common. A common use case with a lot of our clients being able to route things based on dollar amount. Sometimes they have rules based on vendor as well, but certainly dollar amount is very common, and it could be as many different levels as you wish. Some organizations have 5 different levels of approvals based on dollar amount and thresholds there, where different folks and different senior level people need to approve when it gets to a higher dollar amount. So very common, and yes, we could do it.
Perfect. Yeah, it looks like those are the only questions that came in. Again, if you guys do have any other questions, you guys can email us at am@acumenfl.com. You can always give us a call at 407-965-2411. Patrick, Lauren, thanks again for the presentation and helping us out. And we hope you all have a great Earth Day.
Great. Thank you all.